Hi everyone, I'm just preaching. I'm Microsoft Identity and Security Engineer. Today I want to talk about why passwords no longer matter and why attackers know about it. For years we have been told to use strong and complex passwords, should always, change our passwords regularly, never reuse old password. But the most people have not realized that the passwords aren't the main thing attackers care about anymore. I have prepared some slides to talk about why passwords no longer matter in detail. I'm going to share my computer screen and let's talk about why passwords no longer matter in detail. Before we talk about why passwords no longer matter and why attackers know about it, I would like to talk about first how cyber criminals in previous years used to attack. We talk about in previous years it was straightforward. They cyber criminals This cyber criminal he was just work on the weak passwords by dictionary attack, brute force attack, and their aim was to just to get the guess just to guess the passwords, guess the user password, and once they are in, they can do everything. Weak passwords. So weak passwords, reuse password. That's why traditionally we were always forced by the companies to never, and we still do it. I've seen in several companies or organization enterprises as well that they force their companies. They still have a policy to never reuse password. They force their users to never reuse their passwords. Weak passwords. If you have let's say if you don't have a strong password, let's say you're using a name or password something generic character, which is easy to guess for hacker. So the policies do not allow them to set the password weak passwords. Password dumps, they always easily available on the internet. People, often attackers use this password dumps to attack on the companies and try to guess the password by logging, by setting up a dictionary attack or those things, and trying to guess the password of the user. So what happens is let's say this is the username, this is the password. Attacker try to once the hacker is so once Traditionally, once the username knows about username and password, he's enter into the building, and no identity securities are set, and he can do whatever he wants to do it. Set up rules, forward emails, silently, silent attack, which I discussed yesterday as well. So no alerts, no sign-ins, and data leak is happening. That's why we implemented MFA, password managers, and complex policies, so that employees are enforced to protect their identity by requiring a second factor authentication, setting up strong password policies, and storing their complex passwords on password manager rather than remembering. It's very difficult to remember the long password. In password manager, you can have a strong password, you can store those passwords. So let's talk about what changed identity move to the cloud. So now let's talk about let's talk about in previous years we used to only have Active Directory or on-prem based Active Directory. But now identity has been moved to the cloud, which means now when someone tries to log into the cloud session, internet-based identities, right? A session is issued, a token is issued, and a trust relationship is also the when once you authenticate, system issues three things: a session, a token, and a trust relationship. So yeah, so I'll talk about these parameters. I'll try to explain what happens. So that token proves you who you are without asking again. Attackers adopted this token thing. So what they need is a token. They what they need is a token from you so that they can authenticate themselves. Modern attackers don't steal passwords anymore. What they try to steal is a session tokens. So once you authenticate, they try to steal your session tokens, right? Browser cookies, OAuth access. These are the modern uh, protocols. These are modern authentication security mechanisms. And cyber criminals try to steal those information from your system. So what happens after getting the token? MFA is already satisfied. I mean, what happens after getting the token, right? So let's try to understand. You are already authenticated. Let's say you logged into your cloud from system. This is the cloud. Let's say you're working on Azure, right? You're sitting from a computer. You already originated a computer on your computer, and you're already the MFA done. MFA prompt done. Conditional access is bypassed, right? You already log in from a computer device, register device, and you see a policy allowed that. When another time you try to log in, you can log in without MFA prompt MFA because you're logging from a trusted device. However, that is what actually cyber criminal tries to. So this is a session when identity this session will be this session can be stolen by cyber criminal. And from the system perspective, trusted domain has already trusted user continuing the session, so no password needed. And because you are already connected to the trusted device, so you will not be prompted, and the system thinks you are a trusted user logging from a trusted device, no unknown sign behavior, everything is okay, so you will not be prompted for MFA and all those certain stuff. No triggers will be, no alarm alerts will be triggered, no password needed. Yeah, you will not be prompted for entering the password unless my identity thinks that you are the something someone is trying to log in from, or identity behavior, some different identity behavior which doesn't recognize with the usual behavior. Why this is so dangerous? The security tools are built to detect logins only. If someone tries to log in when a session is stolen, if session is stolen, right? So no MFA prompted, no new logins, no new logins, no conditional access by policy bypass. Everything is okay, and no new login since. So therefore, security tools are built to detect logins only. So when token based attacks don't trigger MFA, don't look suspicious, don't drink anything. C policies allow them, let them allow. CA policies let the user allow to log in. Attackers just blend in. So that's why breaches today look like changed invoices. Change invoices. Why change invoices? For instance, silent attack. I discussed this already um, yesterday. Inbox rules, right? They tried. Nowadays, cyber criminals are smart enough. They work on identity. They do social engineering already on. They work on your social media profiles. Let's say LinkedIn. They check your name, what's your designation, and they try to work on it's a silent attack. What happens is they don't work on like getting access and start sending those emails. No. So what happens is, let's say they already plan for next 6 months what they're gonna do it in the month of Christmas when everybody is on vacation and no one is no one is bothering about monitoring their emails. So what happens is in the month of, let's say, they think they'll start doing in the month, they start planning 3 months or 4 months ahead of the Christmas. So before, so that they can plan it. For instance, they know people are going on vacation on the Christmas, so they were there. Let's say October, in the month of October, they'll try to perform their attacks. They'll try to take silent access of your shared mailboxes or any mailboxes which is crucial for the companies. Some links can be sent. They try to observe the email communication. They try to observe the email communication. What is communication? When the emails are sent? Who is the communication? When when emails are going out? Who is the customer? What bank details? How, what, at what time they do it? What are the customers? And all those bank details, your confidential detail can be observe, and they try to modify so that the customer at the other end who has to make a payment, they also of those customers, and they try to think they try to emulate the things by just making a slight subtle change on their bank account so that customers new invoices have been sent, so that the customer at the other end do not customers do not feel that it's something suspicious, and they end up making payment. I have heard from many Australian companies as well. uh, One of the companies that I used to work with, they had one client and they were compromised for the past couple of months, and they did not. The IT team did not notice because it was a silent attack, and they end up paying. They end up losing their a lot of money and confidence, right? Confidence, IT confidence. Yeah, data slowly leaking out, and as well as they end up losing their data as well. Not alarms and ransomware. Does this mean passwords are useless? No, passwords still matter, and companies still prefer to do strong. Somebody still prefer or enforce their employees to use strong passwords. Still complex passwords are required, but they are no longer the gate. We must understand. We still have to follow another, biometric authentication is also there, which I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, passwords still matter, but they are no longer the gate. We have to work on, they are just the first step in a much longer chain of trust, right? Once password, let's say password, MFA, long location based country tasks, location based CA policy. Okay, yeah, they are the longer chain of trust. So we have to work on other things as well. Password, MFA, PIN authentication. You can work on. Um, let's say passwordless authentication, which is our passwordless authentication. We call it, like where you can enter PIN, or you can log, someone can log in with your face as well, when facial recognition as well. Yeah, nowadays, yeah, attackers don't need to break the first link anymore. So password is not the something that they work on it. Passwords aren't, so attackers are not interested in getting knowing their password. No, if they can steal your session, they can log in, and which is much more actually helpful for them, rather than, which is much more useful for them for using the session, active session, and to do their to steal the data, and to set up the rules, forward the rules, and those stuff, all kind of stuff, and leaking out the data. Yeah. So we need to understand, we need password, and password still matters, but we need to work on other factors as well in order to protect MFA, conditional access, biometric authentication, faceless, facial recognition, pin authentication, right? What actually matters? How we can protect our identities? So we can protect our identities by following certain parameters, protecting sessions and tokens. For instance, we can follow device token based only. So that means device based token, tying it your token so with a device only, the trusted device. So no other session can be created apart from this particular device. So this device, this is the user, so he can log into this device only. If he's trying to log in with other device, it will be prompted. No, it will deny. Yeah, monitoring identity behavior. So there are two types of identity behavior. I'm going to talk about public. So if in terms of cybersecurity, we monitor actually user and device behavior. Let's say there are two. Let's say if we talk about this identity behavior in cybersecurity, this will be used as, let's say, what is his daily routine, right? What device he access on, what is public address he uses, what location he's based on, right? Any sign in logins were raised, right, for the past 90 days, 60 days. Where does he go, location, what application he uses on his computer, right? Anything unusual that happens to the computer will trigger an alert. So that also monitoring identity behavior. So yeah, it tries to create it tries to follow some algorithms and try to memorize how the user works, and something unusual happens, triggers alerts. Controlling app consent. So app consent means, it means that how you want to allow your data to be tracked. Let's say you install one application and somebody is requesting read only access to your all directory. Do you want to give that access, read only access to your domain, no. Is it a location based access? At what time he's going to access, all throughout all the 24 hours? No. If it's something while accessing the application, that's okay. Something, it depends, least kind of what app consent that you want to give it, how many applications that you install on the application, or what app consent that you have given to your computer, web application. Limiting session lifetimes. Let's say when you once you authenticated, right? You authenticated, and session and token has been given to you. This is a token. That session is valid for 24 hours, right? Do you want this to be valid for 24 hours? In 24 hours, somebody can, let's say, this cyber criminal come. He tried to take this session and work on it, set up rules and all those things, and those set up this one, and so on. The information data is leaking out. So he can do that. So do you want 24 hours? So the next 24 hours, so when the user tries to log in, he will not be prompted for username and password. The second thing, we can limit it, let's say 8 hours. After 8 hours or after 4 hours, users will be prompted for the relogging. MFA will be prompted. Conditional access box policies trigger. Detecting risky logins, which I've already discussed. This one, which means if somebody, let's say, user's country is India or Canada. The user's country is Canada, right? And but somebody is trying to log in from, let's say, other country, so he will be blocked. We need to monitor detecting risky login. Now somebody is trying to log in from device which doesn't recognize, or let's say some other country, not a trusted device. So alerts will be triggered, sign in logs, and we do get alerts from Microsoft detecting things risky logins. So you must have heard about terms zero trust, identity for security. What is zero trust? So zero trust is something. Zero trust means, so always zero trust is simply, it's not going to, because what happens is, authenticate. It is once you log in, you will be always prompted for MFA. MFA zero trust. So it is, let's say, the PC knows, system knows that this is your device, but it is again still again going to verify your device, your identity. You will be prompted for MFA. Conditional access policy will still apply, even though the session is still there, but you will be forced to do the authenticate yourself. That's what happens. Whether you are in company or you are outside the network, it requires. So we still have to do like zero trust identity verification is we have to revalidate our identity to protect the identity from being stolen. So let's talk about second point, which is identity security. Identity for security means each identity will be treated like a perimeter, which means a DMZ network, where so it will try to verify few things, which means who are you, what access do you need, what access. So it this means, identity means who are you, what access you do you need. It's a strong identity and zero trust verification model where it works with MFA, risk-based conditional access policies, to protect the identity. So let's say continuous access evaluation. It's again one of the security features that we use to protect the identity. Let's say you have been giving global admin permission, right? But you have response policy. This user logs in from this is user location, work location is India, or let's say Canada. Let's say he works in Canada, right? Or India, and whatever country he's working on, it doesn't matter. And he works on it, but somebody has got access to, let's say somebody has got access to his account, and the person is trying to log in from XYZ country, which is blocked country, right? So what happens, the location change something, your access will be revoked immediately rather than waiting for a token to expire. So monitors the account user behavior, location changes, access will be revoked, and you will be forced to relog in. If you do not meet the requirement, you will be 2 or 3 times, then it will trigger the alerts. So final thought, if your security strategy still assumes, or if you think that, where some IT administrators still believe that then attackers still need passwords. No, that's not true anymore. That's what they should realize that passwords are the least thing that cyber criminals are interested in. Nowadays they work on your social media profile, company you are working on, and what position you are working on it, who is the supervisor. They work on all your social profile, steal all information as much as possible by stealing by stealing your tokens, sessions, and working on your identity. So therefore, we need to set up risk-based policies. MFA, conditional access policies should be set up to protect the identity from being stolen. If you guys would like to learn more about why passwords no longer matter, I have written a full article on itblocks.ca. Labs are also available on f11.ca. Thank you, guys.